Hi, I am Boma and you're welcome today to my content creation on mental health. So today we are going to talk about men's mental health. But my first question is, why are men less likely to seek for help compared to women? I'd like to know what you think about this. For me, per observational studies and what I have actually, experienced from my male friends, I think they do so because it's a behavior that has been groomed by fathers and forefathers. So this is more like a behavior passed down from generation to generation. And I say this because even though men want to ask for help, even though men want to ask for support in areas where they lack or areas where they find it very frustrating and being unstable and adjusting to whatever life hassles or consequences going on, they find it very hard to actually ask, especially their colleague men, for help. Even if they do, you find that they would rather ask other women for such help because it is passed down to them as what women are nurturing, right? Women would give you a listening ear and understand you, or women would give you that vulnerable space to grow with them. However, on the other side, men, because of ego, pride, and what they call masculinity tag on them, might be seen as weak if they do ask for help, maybe from even other colleagues. So the question is, how can we combat this? But first of all, I would like you to know that men's mental health is the same as women's mental health and mental health in general. Now, mental health is not really about gender or age or a background or socioeconomic group or race or ethnicity. No, mental health cuts across all ethnicity, background, and everything. So some of what men also go through is anxiety, stress, substance abuse, physical abuse, depression, and even eating disorders. You see, why do I say this? You find men finding it hard to eat good food. Either they don't know how to cook or they eat outside, and some of them end up being anorexic because they are being told cooking is not yours or not your place to be. You find that if they are not able to buy food outside, then they starve. So you find them having this unwanted weight gain and weight loss. It's just very, disturbing for them. Eating disorder could be another mental health problem for men. There are a lot more, but I just want to mention these few mental disorders that men also go through. And in fact, there's higher rates of what men go through in mental health illnesses or conditions or behaviors, higher even than women, just that they are less likely to be reported. So sometimes you don't have the data or statistics of men mental health. Now let's talk about why men do not seek for mental health. Let's talk about stigma and societal expectations. Okay, have you heard of the word, oh, man up, be a man, men don't cry, oh, as a man you need to be fearful, you need to keep quiet. All right, you need to be fearful, you need to keep quiet, don't talk about it. No, that's it's women who talk, you see. So when when you find that a man is trying to express a certain feeling, and knowing very well how men are very bad at communication, a lot of men are so bad at communication, they can communicate but find it hard to comprehend. So they might know that something is wrong with me, but they can't even put it into words because they are not being taught to communicate well. They can communicate and they might also miss the comprehension from their partner about that same communication. Okay, so it's more like they are just fighting with their own monsters. They are fighting their own devils inside of them, and they find it very hard to express those same feelings, to be understood what is going on in their lives. And so when you have all of this stigma, as in, why are you crying? Why is this a big deal for you? Because you find that men would rather man up or even depend on alcohol when they are heartbroken than cry, right? Because us ladies would cry and our friends would be around us, oh, stop crying, he's not even worth it, oh, you girl, you deserve someone better. But men colleagues would laugh at them, would would just make fun, and it's so bad. So at the end of the day, they're going through hardship, they're going through stress, and at workplace there's no one to talk to. They don't even trust their own bosses or supervisors to talk to, because I also understand how competitive it is for men in their working environment, because no one wants to see you weak. You need to get it together. So the moment you approach someone who you do not truly trust, you also be going through some anxiety episodes about sharing the deepest part of you, because every human being wants confidentiality and privacy, right? And then we need to talk about culture and traditional or religious expectations and taboos and barriers and all of that. You see, for culturally, men are being taught to be leaders. You need to lead your home. Now we find a lot of men who have not been groomed to be leaders. We have a lot of men who have not been taught leadership roles in their homes. They can be successful. They can be working with a UN, WHO, World Bank, and all of those places, but you find that they lack those leadership roles in the house. You find that they cannot really lead the way that is best suited for their homes. Okay, and when it is like that too, they might be finding it hard, but they would feel less of a man if they should share with their partner or even with their children and ask for help. Okay, and when I say ask for help, some people will say, some people might think asking for help is what support in maybe taking a bigger role or a job transfer or a project or maybe money. No, it's not that. You see, so mental health is more about resilience. So you need somebody who will be at your back and forth, encouraging you, someone who just will give you a listening ear, that yeah, I'll just hold pace for you till you're able to get yourself back together. You see, someone who will not listen to you and judge you and think less of you and think you're weak. Someone who will not look at you that in a very demeaning or devaluing way, and will not be the end of your self-respect. So with men's mental health, they need someone to trust, they need confidentiality, they would need a certain culture, a shift in our culture and tradition about the role of men and leadership, or the role of men in contributing to what? Mental health, or the role of the household contributing to men's mental health. Because see, men are also getting it tough, because they are not being taught to be husbands and fathers. You can imagine, women, we have been groomed, from birth. You are being told, oh, sweep well, cook well, when your husband do this, do that. And we get it all figured out, as in like it's a book or some syllables that women have to, or some kind of ritual that we go through to become good mothers and wives. But men do not get that. You find that they don't really have mentors to really groom them, because their father just grew up marrying and having to become a man and had to figure it out his or her own way. And it's the same way their son is going through. You need to figure it out and fail and fail and fail and fail until you're able to figure it out that as a man of the house, this works and this doesn't work. And that can be so troubling. That can make you lose your mind and make you develop all kinds of mental health problems. Now, on suicide rates, okay, some people would normally just say, why would a man commit suicide? But you should understand that for someone to sit down and have to decide, and that would be his or her last decision, that I want to commit suicide, is because of a certain pain called psychological pain. Now, there are different varieties of pain, but when we talk about psychological pain, you can take medicine to stop an emotional pain. If you are heartbreaking, do you take medicine for a heartbreak? It's a psychological thing, but manifests itself physically. It's the same way for any form of psychological pain, whether disappointment, loss of a job, death of a loved one, not being understood, and everything. So a lot of times men would normally seek for an escape route for that psychological pain, because maybe they have tried everything they can and now they feel that they are a failure. And it takes a lot for a man to feel that he is a failure. Okay, so if you find that your husband, your brother, your friend, or your work colleague is isolating themselves, having withdrawal, no longer talking like they used to, and you can just see that swift or change in their behavior, and you are being suspicious, you need to help them find help. And you can only do this if you are a good person to him. If you know very well that you're not in good space with this person, how would he trust you and share with you? So that is why I always preach about kindness. People go through a lot. It doesn't matter they're a man, it doesn't matter it's a woman or a child. People go through a lot in their various lives. The best you can do is just be kind. Just smile and don't judge. Don't make it hard for them to live in life. Also, lack of awareness. Okay, lack of awareness can also be a problem why men seeking mental health is very low. Maybe they may not know where to go, or lack of resources, because men already have a lot to deal with. If they are not having very good jobs that have a good health insurance that covers for mental health, you can imagine some private hospitals take about 500, 600, and it's a whole lot. So if there's lack of resources, a man will just man up these kind of mental health problems by himself and suffer through it. But if there's also money and available resources, then they can seek for help. For the lack of awareness is maybe where they are located, because right now in the northern region, for example in Bolga, where I come from, Bongo precisely, in the village, how many men know about mental health awareness? In such a village, what is mental health? You get? So it's more like I'm either sick physically or biologically, or I don't know what is wrong with my mental health. I just know that things are not going on well, and they just go about with it. And magically or superficially, some of them are able to live through it, and they adjust and they cope and they manage it somehow. But at the end of the day, if they are not being able, for example, if it is depression and it's overwhelming, right now they get to do other kind of risky behaviors, self-harm, thinking about death. So that's how bad it can get if there's no early intervention. Schizophrenia, an onset of schizophrenia might happen as withdrawal, hallucination, auditory or visual hallucination, and then delusions and all of that. Imagine there's no early intervention, then it develops into a full remission schizophrenia. This is what I want to pass out to men. I didn't intend taking time. I hope this video is not even more than 20 minutes. That is time consuming. This is what I want to say. I would like to tell you that you matter, and your existence is important to humanity. I know some women may say, oh, men don't matter, but they do matter. Their feelings matter. Their existence matter, their well-being matter, because at the end of the day, if these mental health problems are not being solved or managed or intervened, these are the same men we end up with as boyfriends or husbands. And sometimes you end up having domestic violence cases and you're like, what the heck, I never knew he had this. Yeah, because it is in him and he's not asking for help. Now he is just projecting this mental health on you. So he will beat you, he would abuse you, he would rape you, he would do all kinds of things to you, and you'll be shocked as to why he is like that. Alright, so we need to treat our men better. We need to let them understand that, of course, we know they are the men of the house, but we are there if they need help. We are there to let them know that if they have any mental health, we will support them through the whole process. If we need to take them or go with them to the psychiatrist or the mental health or the counselor's office, we will be right there with them. We would encourage them to take their medications and the right time to take their medications. We will go on reviews with them. We will make sure to help them complete their homework assignments. This is all that is needed to help your man, your brother, your son, or your husband going through any mental health crisis. We need to also build strong relationships with them. And I say this especially for men who do not like making friends. You see that the isolation has become a thing of the day, more individualized behaviors. They wake up, they go to work, they come back, and that is it. They don't socialize, interact, build new relationships, go out there to just have fun. You see, and when you're going through something very bad in life, you'll be in it alone. And this is the reason for suffering and pain, going through something bad alone. So men, build stronger relationships, supportive relationships. And sometimes you see people who drink, we bash them. But a lot of times it always looks as if people who drink don't have problems, because their friends are there for them 24/7. If there's something going on, guy, are you ready? Let's bounce. And they go and they drink and they talk about their problems. But we can have a healthy group for men who don't drink, who don't smoke, who don't abuse substance, who are just what? Healthy groups. Okay, to support men, like some kind of supportive group for men to come and talk about their life, how they are finding it difficult in managing their homes. It shouldn't only be women who go about and talk about how bad their marriage is, because at the end of the day, just yesterday at work, as women was just talking about marriage, and at the end of the day you find positive supporting ideas, because not all women believe in divorces and want other women to divorce. So you end up creating other behaviors. Have you tried this? So that at least you might have tried and failed before you normally end up in divorce. So I think men can have such groups, positive groups, where you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't do all the bad things, and then just have a positive adaptive group to help yourself and build a social community for yourself. Lastly, what I want to talk about is, you see, whatever that has been passed down from generation to generation is for you to stop it. Be the generation that will stop it and help your children, your sons, to ask for help. Why can't men cry? You can't cry. And sometimes when they say, oh, Korean men are cheap, Korean men are weak people, they cry, and I'm like, what is wrong with crying? Crying is just a reaction, an emotional reaction that helps you to release an emotional burden. So what happens when you cry? It doesn't solve a problem, but it lessens the emotional burden. So why can't a human being cry? Even animals cry, for crying out loud. Animals cry. So why can't humans cry? Jesus cried. So why can't we cry? Why can't we cry? Why can't men cry? They can cry too. So you are not weak for asking for help. It is just a stereotype, or maybe your own pride and ego. Okay, so it might be something you need to also work with, and then find help. So men's mental health is very important as any other mental health. Mental health is not about gender, and we need to address this. We need to have an open and honest support in addressing men's mental health. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you share this, because every man needs to know that we love them and we appreciate them. They are so important, and we are also important to them. But for this month, we are celebrating men's mental health, and this is your month. If you are married, buy a flower for your husband. But the question is, have your husband ever bought you a flower? Take your man out, but the question is, has he ever taken you out? Buy him something. The question is, has he ever put into thought buying you something? Because it's more like when you give than you receive. Okay, but you can try this out for the men's mental health. Do something unique for your sons, for your husband, for your boyfriend, for someone you love, for your friend, someone you know is going through a tough time. Book them for a massage, book them for spa, book them for a movie or a date, or just anything, to just tell them that you matter and I love you. That's all about it. Bye.